करीब करीब तशरीफ़ ले आए. You can kindly close the side room doors. Jazakumullah.
अस्सलामु अलैकुम वरहमतुल्लाहि वबरकातुहू। भाई मुझे पता है आपका पहले कुरान पढ़ने का मामूल है, लेकिन कभी कभी आगे पीछे भी करना पड़ता है। हमको वापस वहाँ पहुँचना है इफ्तार में, तो अभी थोड़ी देर बात कर लेते हैं, फिर इंशाअल्लाह चलेंगे। बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम नहमदुहु व नुसल्ली अला रसूलिहिन नबिय्यिल उम्मिय्यिल करीम व अला आलिहि व अस्हाबिहि अजमाइन, अम्मा बाद। Respected elders, brothers, friends, loved ones, ladies listening at home, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept your Ramadan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to do more, forgive our shortcomings. I was looking at the schedule of the bayans in Jamea Masjid. MashaAllah, great speakers, Maulana Yahya Nu'mani Sahab was here, others coming. And everybody's written Urdu, English, Urdu. And with Abdul Raheem written mix. I said, मेरा क्यों mix लिखा है यार? चलो, हम पर प्रेशर ज़्यादा डालते हैं प्रेस्टन वाले, क्योंकि हमारा होम ग्राउंड है, इसलिए कहते हैं कि दोनों में बोलो। चलो खैर, अल्लाह पाक कोई काम की बात कहने की तौफीक नसीब फरमाए। Friends, Ramzan comes and goes. How many Ramzans have come and gone in our lives? Main thing is the purpose of Ramzan. What is the purpose of Ramzan? Why did Allah give us this Ramzan? It's not just to stop eating, drinking and having our pleasure. There's much more to Ramzan than just fasting. Fasting, alhamdulillah, we fast, is obedience of Allah, ita'at of Allah, ibadat of Allah, worship of Allah. And the purpose of our creation is worship. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. So this zahiri, an outer shell, is also important. But that's not the main part. You have the orange. If it has the covering, the orange stays fresh. Then inside is the fruit. But then the fruit is not the main either. There's the juice of the fruit which is intended. If the juice is sweet and nice and tasty, the orange is good. If it's sour, then there's a problem. So all three are necessary. The shell is also necessary. The fruit is also necessary. The juice is also necessary. With regards to a'mal, the outer shell, standing, bowing down, ruku, sijda, is also necessary. Staying away from food, drink and sexual pleasures is also necessary. Giving mal to the poor is also necessary. Going to Kaaba and going round Kaaba is also necessary. Safa Marwa is also necessary. Mina, Arafat, Muzdalifah is also necessary. Staying away from haram, zina, sharab, drugs, gambling, haram money, haram income, it's all necessary. But there's more to it. When we stand before Allah, just do the postures, the outer shell has been achieved. But then, the spirituality of it, the ruhaniyat of it, the barakat of that ibadat, barakat of namaz, barakat of roza, barakat of zakat, that is one step further. We need to pray our namaz properly. We need to keep our roza properly. We need to give zakat, sadqat, khairat properly in order to get that proximity and closeness and qurb of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then the juice of it is that spirituality, that ruhaniyat, that qurb of Allah, the ma'rifat of Allah, the gnosis of Allah, wusul ilallah, that ruhaniyat, that spirituality. We've got the shell, but we're craving for that spirituality, that ruhaniyat is missing out. So Ramzan is here so we can stay away from food and drink, and we can control our desires, and we can draw ourselves closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. एक तो है बाहर का छिलका, उसके अंदर फ्रूट और उसमें जूस. तो इबादत का एक जाहिर है, और फिर उसका एक बातिन है, और फिर उसका एक मकसद है, और वो रूहानियत, मारिफत, वसूल इल्लाह. So we might be missing out on that. That's what we need to do. Now, why are we missing out on it? क्या रीज़न है, सबब क्या है? बोलो, बताओ, आप मुझको बताओ. क्यों? Many reasons for it. Perhaps one of the reasons is materialism. Material world is distracting us. We are always running around, job, work, business. It's too much pressure on our heads. And that's what keeps us away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is why throughout the year we can't pray. Throughout the year we can't keep any nafil rozas. Throughout the year we might struggle to give sadaqah, zakat, khairat, lillah. So, this material world, we need to get away from it and come to the spiritual world. This materialism is rampant in the society today. Everybody is falling for it. As they say, money, money, money. It's so funny in a rich man's world. You have the dosh, you got everything, flashy cars, nice home, nice family, this, that, designer wear clothes, designer wear shoes, latest gadgets, mobiles, iPad, iPod, this part, that part, I don't know what, and what's going to come. And now moving one step further, AI, artificial intelligence, metaverse, a new world. People are spending money in that metaverse, buying plots and lands in metaverse. And real money is going for nothing, nowhere. Well, it's just that sort of greed within us. I want this, that wantonness, that hirs, that tama, that lalach, which is getting the better of us. And this is why Allah warned us. يا أيها الناس إن وعد الله حق فلا تغرنكم الحياة الدنيا ولا يغرنكم بالله الغرور. ए लोगो, बेशक अल्लाह का वादा बरहक है. अल्लाह का वादा बरहक है. लिहाजा ख्याल रखना कहीं ये दुनिया की जिंदगी तुमको धोखे में न डाल दे और इंतहाई धोखेबाज शैतान तुमको धोखे में न डाल दे. Allah's promises are true. Therefore, do not let the worldly life deceive you, and do not let that deceiving shaitan deceive you. Two deceptions. One is from the dunya, the other is from shaitan, both trying to take you away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the material world which is rampant. We are falling for it, and they are distracting us and diverting us away from our main goal, who is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah's pleasure, Allah's ridha, Allah's ma'rifat, Allah's gnosis, knowing Allah, getting to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We might be praying that namaz, but our mind is everywhere. Everywhere except Allah. We think about everything except Allah. When did you last get that, halawat of your sujood, that sweetness in your sujood. When you get that istihzar, that dhyan, that focus, that my forehead is on the ground in front of Allah. Allah is watching me, Allah is looking at me, Allah is hearing my Subhana Rabbi al-A'la, Subhana Rabbi al-A'la, Subhana Rabbi al-A'la. When did you feel like making dua in your nafil namaz sajda? Faraz namaz sajda should be short, but nafil namaz sajda should be long. And we should make du'as in sajda. Rabbana, 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 whatever du'as you know from Quran, Hadith, read those du'as in sajda. أقرب ما يكون العبد من ربه إذا يكون ساجدا فأكثروا فيه من الدعاء فقمن أن يستجاب لكم. The closest a person can be to his Rabb is when he is in the sajda. So make lots of du'as in your sajda. It is highly likely that your dua will be accepted. So that spirituality which we are craving is not there. Ramzan comes and goes, but it's just like a routine for us. एक निज़ाम है, आया गया रमज़ान आई, मुलाकात ये वो, इफ्तारी, this, that. Ladies बिचारे busy at home, cooking and they frying and everything, desserts and firni and custard and all that. And bichara, they don't have time, running around, school runs, taking kids to school, bringing them back, picking up, routine life. But that spirituality is not coming. We are too much into material world. We need to come out of that material world and into the spiritual world. Not that metaverse spiritual world, the real spiritual world. That qurb of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, there are many ways to get that qurb of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of the easiest ways is to develop the love of Allah and the love of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam in our hearts. When we love Allah, when we love Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, then everything becomes easy and our whole life becomes so smooth. Everything fits into places. Everything is easy for us. This is why we remember that hadith. ثلاث من كن فيه وجد بهن حلاوة الإيمان. If you have three qualities, you will get that halawat of Iman, the sweetness of Iman. You know, Iman has a certain halawat, right? Halawat, like the halawat and sweetness of Habshi halwa, zarda, solo, sweet dish. You feel that halawat on your tongue, the tongue tastes it. This is the sweetness which the tongue tastes, but there is the sweetness which the heart tastes, the sweetness of the heart. That halawat of Iman, halawatul Iman, the lazzat of Iman, the taste of Iman, the beauty of Iman. If you have these three qualities, you will get that halawat and sweetness of Iman. Like Sahaba got it. Bilal Habshi radiallahu anhu is tortured and he's saying Ahad, 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 Ahad. The body is in pain, but the heart is feeling that pleasure of closeness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And read their stories. That Sahabi who was guarding the army in the darkness of the night with his friend. He told his friend to go to sleep and he started salat so they can take turns on both don't fall asleep. He started his salah and someone from the enemy was following them and he saw this Sahabi on the hill. So he was a bit confused. Is it a man or is it a tree? So he wanted to check it out. So from a distance in the dark, he shot an arrow. And the arrow struck him on his hand. He pulled it out and threw it away. He shot another one. And he hit him again. But he pulled it out again and he's bleeding. Now a third arrow. But now he was getting a bit dizzy. So he finished his namaz quickly, woke his friend up. And they ran after the enemy. The enemy ran off. Now his friend said, why didn't you wake me up on the first arrow? And he said, I was reading one surah and I was getting so much lazzat and halawat in there that, if there was no risk of life on Nabi Kareem Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and the Sahaba, I would have died, but I would have not have, stopped reading that surah. I would not have finished my namaz. You know what surah he was reading? We also read it every Friday. Surah Kahf. Do you ever get that halawat and sweetness which the Sahabi was getting? That their love for Allah, their love for Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is what brought that halawat and sweetness in them. We need this halawat and sweetness. Believe me, it's a beautiful world. You might stand for hours in tahajjud, your feet might swell, but your heart will get the pleasure of standing before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is amazing world. We need to come on this side. And the quickest way is love of Allah and love of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, 3 things if you have in you, you will get that halawat. Number 1, أن يكون الله ورسوله أحب إليه ممن سواهما. That Allah and His Rasul become more beloved to you than anything besides them, any person besides them. Allah, Rasul at the top, everything else at the bottom. Everything else is secondary. Allah is first, Allah's hukam is first, Rasulullah is first, Rasulullah's sunnat is first. وَإِن يُحِبَّ الْمَرْءَ لَا يُحِبُّهُ إِلَّا لِلَّهِ. Second quality, we love one another just for the sake of Allah, not for personal gains. I don't want something from you, you don't want anything from me. We sit here together, we love one another for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The love for one another should be pure, sincere, honest. That love is what will bring the halawat in our hearts. And number 3, أن يكره أن يعود في الكفر بعد إذ أنقذه الله منه كما يكره أن يقذف في النار. That a person dislikes turning to kufr after Allah has saved him, just as he hates being thrown alive into fire. In the bonfire, if someone was to grab hold of you, 2-3 mustandas, your hands and your feet, and they're going to throw you in the fire, you're going to scream your head off, bachao, 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 hey, save me, please, please, don't do this. That should be your attitude towards kufr and shirk. That abhorrence of kufr and shirk should be embedded, instilled in the bottom of the heart. Today, people watch Indian movies and shirk is slowly fading away from the hearts. Buddha parasti is creeping in the heart. People admire and people respect and revere idols. Where is that karahiyatul kufr and karahiyatul shirk? Until you don't get that, you won't feel the halawat of iman. It's only everything will be just superficial. Everything will be just upar se. The reality, the haqiqat will not come in the heart until you have that in you, the dislikeness of kufr, just like the dislikeness of being thrown in fire. So, Allah's love and Rasulullah's love should be at the top. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Allah. To get to Allah, you'll have to go through Rasulullah. Hazrat Khaja Mu'inuddin Chishti Ajmeri rahmatullahi alayhi says in one of his malfuz, इंसान जब तक फना फिल्लाह के दर्जे से न गुजरे, नहीं, फना फिर रसूल के दर्जे से न गुजरे, फना फिल्लाह के दर्जे तक नहीं पहुंच सकता. Until a person goes through fanaiyat in Rasul, he cannot get to fanaiyat in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the route to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Someone saw Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam in a dream, and it was that period where some legends had passed away. So he asked Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, what do you say about Ghazali? And he said, Ghazali got to that stage where he wanted to go. He reached the top pinnacle. What do you say about Razi? And he said, Razi also got there, though a bit behind Ghazali. What about Ibn Sina? And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam replied, Arada an yasila ila Allahi bila wasitati fahajabtuhu fasaqata fin nar. He wanted to get to Allah without my medium. I blocked him and he fell in the fire. This is mentioned in Nibras Sharh of Sharh Aqaid by Allama Abdul Aziz Pirhari Rahmatullah alayh. Whatever the case, Abu Ibn Sina is at the top in medicine, Al-Qanun. However, he just studied mantiq and philosophy and medicine without studying Quran and Hadith and these ulum aliyah. And he stopped there. And he went into this deep field of medicine studying, and he did some good work. But there were some things which he said which were a bit dubious about Fana'i alam, Qidami alam, denying that this world will ever have fana. Maybe this led to something, doubt about Qiyamah or something. And some of his work went in that route. That is why ulama have different opinions regarding him. Whatever the case, the point I want to make here is arada an yasila ilallahi bila wasitati. You cannot get to Allah without the wasita of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Hence, we have to love Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And since Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is a human being, we can have him in front of our eyes in person. We can study his life. We can know who he was, how he behaved, what he did, what are his sunnats, and we can bring those ways in our lives. And since he was Habibullah, we can also become Habibullah by being like him and copying him and emulating him. So this is the route to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hence, we need to love Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He said in the hadith, Ahibbullah lima yaghzukum min ni'amihi wa ahibbuni lihubbillah. Love Allah because of the ni'mats He bestows upon you. Day and night, He's showering His ni'mats and His blessings upon you. So love Him. He deserves your love. And then He said, وَأَحِبُّونِي لِحُبِّ اللَّهِ. And love me for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you love Allah, you love me as well. They can't be separated. This is why in Surah Ali Imran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses the Nasara of Najran right from the beginning of the surah. There are 90 odd verses are regarding the address to Christians. The story of Maryam alayhi salam and Zakaria alayhi salam and Isa alayhi salam and his raising towards the heaven. It's all mentioned in there. In the middle, in one place, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses the Christians. قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهِ فَاتَّبِعُونِي يُحْبِبْكُمُ اللَّهِ. Tell them, if you really love God, then follow me, God will love you, and God will forgive you your past sins. And God is most forgiving, most merciful. So, you can't claim to love Allah without loving Rasulullah. You'll only be true in your claim for love of Allah if you love Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And here come the hadith where he stresses upon this. لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى أكون أحب إليه من والده وولده وَالنَّاسِ أَجْمَعِينَ. None of you can be a complete, perfect believer until I am more beloved to him than his father, his children, and whole humanity, all his friends, friend circle, his hobbies, everything comes later on. Rasulullah comes first. Your iman cannot be perfect until you get this in you. Namaz achhi, roza acha, zakat achhi, hajj acha. नमाज अच्छी, रोज़ा अच्छा, ज़कात अच्छी, हज अच्छा, मगर मैं बावजूद इसके मुसलमान कामिल हो नहीं सकता. I can't be a complete, perfect believer in spite of doing all this. मगर मैं बावजूद इसके मुसलमान कामिल हो नहीं सकता. न कट मरूं जब तक ख्वाजे यथरिब की इज्जत पर. खुदा शाहिद है मेरा ईमान कामिल हो नहीं सकता. Until I sacrifice everything for the Khaja of Yathrib, Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, my iman will never be complete. For this, my dear brothers, we have to see the love of Sahaba for Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. They sacrificed everything for Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. They loved him to bits. Nobody can love anyone as the Sahaba loved Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. This is why Urwa ibn Mas'ud said, Wallahi laqad wafattu ala al-muluk. لقد وفدت على قيصر وكسرى والنجاشي والله ما رأيت أحدا يعظمه أصحابه ما يعظم أصحاب محمد محمدا. Wallah, I've been to in delegations around the whole world. I've been to Qaisar and Kisra and Najashi and wherever. I've never seen anyone revere and respect their leader as much as Muhammad's companions respect him. Wallahi in tanakhama nukhamatan illa waqa'at fi kaffi rajulin minhum fadalaka biha wajhahu. Wallah, even if he spits, they take that saliva in their hands and they rub it on their faces. وَكَادُوا يَقْتَتِلُونَ عَلَى وَضُوئِهِ. They fight over the wuzu water which is falling from his limbs. If they get it, okay. If they can't, then they take it from the wetness of the other person's hand and they wipe it on their face. وَمَا يَتَنَازَعُونَ عِنْدَهُ الْحَدِيثِ. And when he is speaking, they're all complete silent composure. They listen to him attentively. They don't argue in fighting in his presence. He said, this is the love. This is a kafir, a mushrik, who observed Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Sahaba in Hudaybiyah, and he is mentioning that to the mushrikeen of Quraysh. So Sahaba's love was on another level, and this is what made them the best of this ummah. They didn't become the best of this ummah for no reason. Their love for Rasulullah, their sacrifice for Rasulullah. Rasulullah's, and they got the tawajjuh and attention of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is what made them who they were. And we can, Maulana Talha will go into the topic of how the Sahaba loved Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Gents, ladies, young boys, Bedouins, non-Muslims, even animals. Those animals which were connected to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They knew, they recognized he is Rasulullah. This is Rasulullah passing by. Everybody loved Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Young children, Abdullah ibn Zubair radiallahu anhu, he's only 8-9-year-old kid. Nabi Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam was cupped, and the blood was gathered in one container. He was told, go and throw this away somewhere. He took it and he came back. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, did you dispose of it properly? Yeah, I put it in a very good place. Rasulullah said, what do you mean? He said, I drank it. Huh? You drank my blood? He's only a 9-year-old kid, but he loved Rasulullah so much, he drank that blood. Huzur didn't tell him to do so. In fact, he said, well, since my blood has gone in your body, the fire of Jahannam will never touch you. However, because you drank blood, you will get into fights and battles. Abdullah bin Zubair did end up his end of his life in battles, in wars. His love for Rasulullah, he just drank the blood. Anas radiallahu anhu, 10-year-old kid, and his mother said, do khidmat of Rasulullah. And for 10 years he stayed in the khidmat of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, running around, doing whatever says. And Rasulullah loved Anas radiallahu anhu as well. He used to give him nice advices. He made special du'as for him. Allahumma aksir malahu wa waladahu wa barik lahu fi umrihi. Give him lots of money, lots of children, barakat in his umr and life, forgive his sins. Anas had a long life. He lived for over 100 years. And you know, in one place I read that after Rasulullah's death, he lived so long, he said, there's not been a single night in which I don't see Rasulullah in my dream. He used to see Rasulullah in his dream every night because he used to do khidmat. He was always in his presence. He was always running around for Rasulullah. And when you have someone in the back of your mind, they come in your dream as well. The children's love for Rasulullah, the elders' love, the ladies' love for Rasulullah. Ladies used to love Rasulullah. Sahabiyat said, Ya Rasulullah, these gents, they get so much of your time. We don't get enough attention. You should give us some attention as well. Huzur said, okay, I'll give you special bayans. So once a week, Rasulullah appointed bayan program, especially for ladies. Ladies used to gather and he used to give bayan to them. Sahabiyat, any question, they would come. They was free, his doors were open. They could come to his house anytime, ask questions. Rasulullah is injured in the battle of Uhud. A lady is told that your husband has been killed, your father has been killed, your brother has been killed in the battle of Uhud. But she keeps on asking, okay, but how is Rasulullah? How is Rasulullah? How is Rasulullah? And they say that he's okay. She said, no, I want to see him. And they take him. She's an old lady. They take him and they open the tent of Rasulullah. She looks at his face and she says, Kullu musibatin ba'daka jalalun ya Rasulullah. As long as you are safe and well, every musibat is easy. Imagine her love for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam departs from this dunya. Sayyiduna Abu Bakr, Sayyiduna Umar, Khalifa, during Hazrat Umar's Khilafat, Sayyiduna Umar radiallahu anhu was doing his nightly round gasht. And there was this old lady weaving her wool in the moonlight. And while she's doing her work, she's reading some poetry. على محمد صلاة الأبرار صلى عليه الطيبون الأخيار يا ليت شعري قد كنت صواما بكاء بالأسحار يا ليت شعري والمنايا أطوار هل يجمعني وحبيبي الدار. May the salat and durood and blessings be upon Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. That durood should be from all the pious people around the world. The abrar, the muttaqeen, they should all send durood upon Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Tayyibun al-akhyar. Ya Muhammad, you used to cry at night and stand in prayer at suhoor times and cry in du'as at suhoor times for your ummah. You were such a nice personality. I wish I knew that death is going to come, it's certain. Will I be able to meet my beloved in the hereafter and see him there as well or not? This is an old lady. She's remembering, while she is doing her daily work, she is remembering Rasulullah and reading Durood Sharif upon him. The love was immense and intense for Rasulullah. This is what took them to the top and made them the best of this ummah. No, the whole world's awliyaullah cannot get to the rank of one sahabi. Sahaba are sahaba, they are just different, they are on another level. And this was because of their love for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. My dear brothers, this is what we are missing out on. And this is why we can't get that spirituality, that ruhaniyat in us. As long as we don't get this love in us, we will never get that. As long as we just make things like routine, daily, up and down, running around, and we, other people do that as well. People go Hajj and Umrah, but they don't get that spirituality. They just go like other people go for their functions. Other religions, they have their functions. So they think that everybody goes, this is what I'm doing as well. Dini umur, prayers, fasting, zakat, sadaqat. Well, other religions do it as well, so we're doing it as well. So this is do it as a routine. Outwardly, the shell is there, but the ruhaniyat, the spirituality, that mean maqsad is not there. We're missing out on it. If we don't come to this side of spirituality, we will never get that either. We need to come on this side, this ruhaniyat, spirituality. We can only gain that when we get the love of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in our hearts at the top level. We remember him. You know, he has many rights over us. Number one right, we have to believe in him, that he is Rasulullah. Number two right, that we have to love him for the sake of Allah. Number three right, we have to follow him. Ita'at, ittiba'i sunnat. Follow his sunnat. Be like him, because he was Habibullah. So anything he did was beloved to Allah. Allah loved everything he did, everything he wore, in the manner in which he sat, he spoke, he ate, he drank, he slept. Everything was loved by Allah. So when we copy him, we will also become beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have to read durood and salam upon him regularly. The more durood salam we read, the better for us. It's for our own sake. We don't read durood salam. We only read in namaz, at-tahiyyat, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. Tell me in the last 24 hours, how much durood did you read? Besides the namaz durood. Is that all what your Prophet deserves from you? Only that amount of durood? Why can't we read durood sharif? We have to read durood sharif in order to bring that love of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in our hearts. And among his huquq is that we study his seerat, his biography, his hadith sharif. We propagate his seerat, we propagate his hadith sharif among people. Only then we will be successful. Otherwise, everything is superficial. People go on listening to people around on YouTube and video and here and there. And some people will be objecting, oh, Taraweeh, 20 rakat is not necessary. It's not for us. You can pray if you want to. You cannot pray if you don't want to. Oh, if you pray 8, it's all right. Well, even 8 is not necessary. You can just pray 2 and go run off as well. Tomorrow they're going to say there's no Taraweeh. I'm telling you, in Iran, there's no Taraweeh. In Iran, after Isha Namaz, every masjid is empty. They just go home after Isha Namaz like normal days. That's what's going to happen. People don't value these things, don't understand the importance of 20 rakat Taraweeh. Half of our masajid get empty after 8 rakat Taraweeh. There's no spirituality there. We just come for the sake of coming. Well, everybody is coming, so I have to go. That's why I'm coming. But that connection with Allah is not there. That ruhaniyat, that spirituality, that love of Allah, the love of sunnat of Rasulullah. He prayed these Taraweeh. Sahaba knew him better than you and me. Today, stupid fools are saying, who is Umar? This is Umar's sunnat. We don't want Umar's sunnat. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Are you going ahead above Umar radiallahu anhu? How can you make such statements? But we get stupid fools on YouTube videos like Dr. Zakir Naik and Dr. Yasir Qazi and these people, they're saying, oh, Taraweeh is not sunnat. There's nothing to it. We will get people like saying that, you know, this tasbih of Taraweeh, there's nothing to it. Don't read Subhanallah, but Zil Mulk wal Muluk. Bhai, read something. It's better than chit chat between the 4 rakats. Our mashayikh were there, they give us this, कि भाई चलो पढ़ो इसको अच्छा है, फायदा है इसमें पढ़ने में. कुछ तो पढ़ो अल्लाह के बंदो चुपचाप बैठने के बजाय. तो ये अच्छा है. मशाइख ने शामी में लिखी है ये तस्बीह. शामी ने लिखा है. ये तस्बीह मलाइका की है. Malaika read this tasbih in the heavens. So they collected that, they said, they read this tasbih. At the end is, Allahumma ajirna minan nar, ya mujir, la ilaha illallah, nastaghfiruk, nas'aluk al-jannah, na'udhu bika minan nar. This is what encouraged in the hadith. Read la ilaha illallah and istighfar abundantly and ask Allah for jannah. Seek Allah's protection from Jahannam. अरे भाई एक दफे तो दिन में ये दुआ मांगो तस्बीह के तरावी के अंदर तरावी की 4 रकात के बाद. So, you know, people come up with new things every day. Don't fall for those things. Alhamdulillah, our mahol, our culture is protected. We are doing the right thing. Just do it with that ruhaniyat, spirituality, the love of Allah, love of Rasulullah. Increase your ibadat, increase your worship in Ramadan. Do more nawafil, read more Quran, do more zikr rather than reducing it. This is what is needed. So, today I'm finishing off now. I know you want to read your Quran. I don't want to go on and on. Inshallah, we'll talk more about tomorrow. Maybe about Sunnah of Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the importance of Sunnah in our lives. So today's topic, we need to have that spirituality within us. Not just the shell of the orange, we need that fruit. And not just the fruit, the juice as well. So for that, we have to work hard. If you want to get that juice, you'll have to go to mashayikh, get bayat, stay in their company. Learn from them. The way they took it from their mashayikh is the way you can get it from the mashayikh as well. And you stay in their company, and inshallah your ruhaniyat, you will get taraqqi and spirituality and qurb and closeness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Today people don't want to do that. People are independent. Oh, I'm all right. Kids are independent from their parents as soon as they turn 18. Me, my job, my work, my house, my wife, my everything, abandoning parents, sending them in old homes. The kids are independent. They don't want to have anything to do with parents. How will people want to have anything to do with mashayikh and ulama sulaha? We don't need ulama, we don't need mashayikh. We go mufti Google, type in and get our answer. Who needs mufti these days? That's the level of freedom and independence people are getting. There's no connection with the reality, the real world. People don't know who the person on the other side is on Google. Is he a Muslim or not? They don't even do that. And they go ask him and they give jawabs. And people don't think for themselves and they look at stupid videos and follow them. Allah के वास्ते ज़रा दीन जो है, दीन पर गैरत होनी चाहिए. गैरत ईमानिया कहाँ गई तुम्हारी? क्यों ऐसे लोगों की चीज़ें देखते हो और अपना ईमान ख़राब करते हो, अपना अमल ख़राब करते हो? अल्लाह हमें समझ दे, अल्लाह हमें समझ दे, अल्लाह हमें समझ दे. अल्लाह हमें अपनी मोहब्बत दे, रसूलुल्लाह की मोहब्बत दे, सुन्नत की मोहब्बत दे और सुन्नत के मुताबिक ज़िंदगी गुजारने की तौफीक दे. सुब्हानकल्लाहुम्मा व बिहम्दिक नशहदु अल्ला इलाहा इल्ला अंत नस्तगफिरुक व नतूबु इलैक. अल्लाहुम्मा लकल हम्दु व लकश शुक्र. अल्लाहुम्मा सल्लि अला सय्यिदिना मुहम्मदिन नबील उम्मी व अला आलिहि व अस्हाबिहि व सल्लिम तस्लीमा. परवरदिगार आलम महज अपने फजल व करम से हम सब की मग़फ़िरत फरमा दीजिए. हमारा टूटा फूटा रमज़ान कबूल फरमाइए, हमारे रोज़े कबूल फरमाइए, तरावीह कबूल फरमाइए. या अल्लाह हमें रूहानियत और स्पिरिचुअलिटी नसीब फरमाइए. मादियत परस्ती से हमारी हिफाजत फरमाइए. माहौल के बुरे असरात से हमें महफूज फरमाइए. शैतान के शर से बचाइए, नफ्स के शर से बचाइए. या अल्लाह दुनिया के धोखे से हमारी हिफाजत फरमाइए. माहौल की बुराई से बचाइए, कॉलेज और यूनी के माहौल से बचाइए, यूट्यूब और वीडियो के माहौल से बचाइए, सोशल मीडिया के असरात और इफ़ेक्ट से हमारी हिफाजत फरमाइए, टीवी के अल्लाह असरात से हिफाजत फरमाइए. आज़ाद दिमागी ख़त्म फरमाइए, इताअत और फरमाबरदारी का जज्बा नसीब फरमाइए. अल्लाह इश्क़ इलाही अता फरमाइए, इश्क़ रसूल अता फरमाइए, इत्तिबाए सुन्नत की तौफ़ीक़ अता फरमाइए. रमज़ान में नेक अमाल में इजाफ़ा करने की तौफ़ीक़ अता फरमाइए. हमारी कोताहियाँ, कमज़ोरियाँ, सुस्तियाँ, गफ़लतें मुआफ़ फरमाइए. हमें हमारे उलमा और मशाइख़ के साथ दिली ताल्लुक़, लगाव और अटैचमेंट नसीब फरमाइए. उनकी नसीहतों पर अमल करने की तौफ़ीक़ अता फरमाइए. जितने भी उलमाए किराम यहाँ तशरीफ़ लाएँ माह रमज़ान में, उनका आना कबूल फरमाइए. उनके ज़रिए पूरी कम्यूनिटी, सोसाइटी को खूब नफ़ा पहुँचाइए. हमारे मदरसे की तामीर में आसानी फरमाइए. आफ़ियत के साथ इसको पाए तकमील तक पहुँचाइए. हमारी टूटी फूटी दुआएँ कबूल फरमाइए. रब्बना तक़ब्बल मिन्ना इन्नका अंतस समीउल अलीम व तुब अलैना या मौलाना इन्नका अंतत तव्वाबुर रहीम. व सल्लल्लाहु तआला अला खैर खल्क़िही सय्यिदिना मुहम्मदिन व आलिहि व सहबिही अजमईन बिरहमतिका या अरहमर राहिमीन.
Just a few minutes remain till iftar. Brothers are requested that please engage in dua. Brothers outside are also requested that engage in dua. This is a time of acceptance of dua. We've been fasting all day. So brothers are requested that please engage in dua. Jazakumullah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم لك صمت وبك آمنت وعليك توكلت وعلى رزقك أفطرت.
There's just one request regarding the water bottles. When we throw them in the bag, if you can squash them and then throw them because they take too much space in the recycling bins. And please keep, if you have some water left with you, then please take the bottles with you. Don't leave them lying around the masjid, half bottles. So please finish your water and throw it in the recycling squashed up. And if you haven't finished it, then please take your bottle with you. Jazakallah.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله